some people are really going to hate me after this. But if you are here because you're interested in anything that I have to say, please, please just stick stick around. I don't want things that I say to be taken completely out of context or, disregarded just because I said something that makes you feel a little iffy about it. Trust me, it gets it's it's supposed to all crescendo. So I want to redo Miles Morales as a character. I want to make him better. I want him to be his own character and not just be Peter's shadow. Because that's what Miles typically is in all of his story. He's just an upcoming Spider-Man with pretty much all the same skill sets with a couple extra powers and not much differentiating him from Peter Parker. In this story, he's an intelligent, awkward teenager who's trying to be a hero for his neighborhood. Same thing that Peter Parker did. In the movie, it's pretty much the same thing, except he's not overtly intelligent. And he's just trying to be a hero. And in the comics, it's just pathetic. He's so bland as a character that they literally slap his face on every single superhero. And then when they stopped doing that, they rehashed Peter's first storyline, the comic saga. I mean, the Clone Saga, and then gave it to Miles like it's gonna do anything. This is a character that I understand a lot of people like, and a lot of people don't like, because Peter is just. I mean, Miles is a what-if version of Peter Parker, and that's pretty much the whole thing. That's why people don't like him, because he's like, people are like, oh, what if Peter Parker was black? Let's make him that, and that's Miles Morales. What if, people are like, oh, he's a good character of representation. So there's like people on both sides that either like him and don't like him. Personally, I think he's a huge missed opportunity. And I'm gonna say some things where people are either going to like, people are probably gonna take out of context and like blame me as being like racist or whatever, but I need to ask you one question before I say anything of that effect. Why make a black and Hispanic version of Spider-Man? What's the legitimate reason of making a version of Spider-Man that's black? That's the sole thing that makes him different from Peter is that he's black and Hispanic. Okay. Based on whatever answer you have, you can write it in the comments, but I'm pretty sure no one's got a definitive answer other than, oh, we need for people of color to see themselves in. I'm like, I see myself in characters that don't look like me at all. It's just characters. Putting a skin on them doesn't change anything. It's who are they as a person? What are their values? What is the story and whatnot? So I want to work with that. I don't want to work with, oh, his. I don't want to play this whole race thing. I want to work more of a personality thing with him. And now here's where people are going to call me racist. No, but seriously, what? I'm pretty sure Miles was supposed to be a representative of the people who grow up in worse neighborhoods. He's supposed to be growing up in Brooklyn, and his uncle's the Prowler, a supervillain, and whatnot. But they don't really play into that because these writers don't want to be accused of being racist for making a black character and then giving him in something like the Hood or something, right? I I'm gonna disregard that whole fear, and I know I can read the comments already. People are going to immediately assume some shit, but no, I'm gonna play into it because what other purpose does Miles have other than being Peter's sidekick and runner-up? He doesn't really have one, so I'm gonna give him one. So, like I said, I'm gonna make Miles be from the hood. He's from a bad neighborhood of Brooklyn. His family's involved in gang stuff. His father was a cop, but he died because he was trying to follow protocol, but that didn't work out for him because police officers are limited in what they can do. His uncle isn't the Prowler in the story, and his uncle is a gang member, one of the higher ups, right? Miles's whole where Peter's teenage years was filled with fear of trying to talk to the girl that he likes or being bullied by Flash Thompson. Miles's fear growing up as a teenager is running into the wrong person on the way home from school, you know, because he could get shot or stabbed or, you know, mugged or whatever. He's from a bad area of Brooklyn, just a really rough area of Brooklyn. But this is his home. This is what his family is. He grew up in this environment, and thus he has an understanding of this environment. He has an understanding of if someone's being robbed, it's not because that person is greedy or that person is bad or evil. He sees it as that person probably is having a really bad time in their life and they are desperate. They really need the help and they can't get it through any other means, so they chose to go to crime. That's his that's his perspective on things. Where Peter, he would see someone being mugged and he sees it as someone taking advantage of an innocent person, you know, using violence to get what they want. So Peter's not going to be like his mentor or anything throughout the story. Miles is going to have his own like coming of age thing where I mean, of course Peter's going to be in it eventually, but Miles for the first like few months of him being his own superhero, essentially, like having his powers, he's not going to be like Peter Parker. He's going to be working with the gang. He's going to be working with his family business and whatnot. And he's going to be working up the ranks and, like, making their lives better. His whole motivation is making his family's lives better. And it's because they live in a crappy neighborhood. They live in an area where everyone is dangerous, everything has gone wrong, and he's trying to do what he can with his newfound powers to help. So he's working under his uncle, um, and at one point during this time of him, like, already being recognized as this, like, force to be reckoned with the other rival gangs and whatnot, he's with his uncle during like a gun trade or something like that, where Peter swinging by sees this happening, and he goes in to, you know, put a stop to it because Peter sees it as criminals trading guns. Can't do that. That's bad. Guns will hurt people. You know, you should purchase it legally. You know, where Miles is like, we're just doing the best we can to survive. So Peter swings in, tries to put a stop to everyone, you know, webs them all up, starts beating them up. And Miles is over there like, yo, this is my family, these are my friends, and he starts fighting back with the same powers that Peter has. In this story, just for simplicity's sake, until, like, I can, you know, I'm not clever enough as a writer to explain why he would have functional web shooters, so in this story, Miles and Peter have organic web shooters. Fuck off, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Had a cop there. Yeah. But so when Peter realizes that this kid who's involved with this illegal activity has the same powers as him, he tries to, like, subdue Miles, like calm him down to where, like, he could talk to him. And they get fighting on a rooftop or whatnot, and Peter is like, hey, you gotta learn, you got these powers, you could do so much more, you know, you gotta understand that with great power comes great responsibility. And Miles can snap back with something like, well, what about the people with no power? What do you tell them? Hmm? What about my family? What about my friends? They don't have any power. What do you tell them? You just tell them to be locked in a cage for the rest of their life or something? Because they're doing what they can to get power so they can do things that, you know? But I don't want this to be, oh, white man bad, black guy misunderstood or anything. I want this to be a two-way street where both perspectives are correct, but they're from completely different backgrounds. So we gotta, like, I want Miles to have his own, like, yang for Peter's yin, you know? Where it's not like he's not shutting Peter down, he's more of adding to the with great power comes great responsibility, where Miles has his own mantra that reminds him of people without power. because they're from completely different backgrounds. They have different perspectives, and they're both trying to do the best thing that they can with the ways that they know how. Peter grew up in a neighborhood that wasn't dangerous, that he never had to really fight for his life or fight for, you know, survival or anything, Except for, of course, some money problems, but I mean, like, dangerous people, that kind of stuff. So, I want them to have this mutual respect to where Miles understands that Peter's just trying to keep innocent people safe. That's his whole thing. And Miles is understanding of the people who are putting those innocent people in danger. And he's not necessarily justifying it, but he understands it. He understands that these people aren't necessarily evil. They aren't like just criminals to him. They are, struggling. They need help. But he grew up in an environment where helping them means giving them guns, giving them escapes like drugs and stuff, or giving them money that is not brought in by good means. So Miles in this version of himself is more empathetic towards criminals, but more they're both misguided. Both Peter and Miles is misguided. Peter is ignorant to a lot of the stuff that's going on with gang crime and whatnot, but it's not his fault. He's not willfully ignorant. He just didn't have a chance to understand them, and he just knows from the side of the innocents that you don't, put innocent people in danger over yourself. That's Peter's whole thing, and he's right about that. You don't put innocent people in danger because of your own needs. But at the same time, Miles is correct in these people have, like, they're on pretty much their last resort. They really need something to help them. So, I don't want Miles to be like a villain, to be working with the gang all the time and be anything like that. I want him to try and be a good guy, trying to help people at the same time as Peter, but he's more empathetic towards the people who are like mugging and robbing places, but he's trying to actually help them more see that, hey, this is hurting people. You can't be doing this kind of stuff. I want, like, maybe Kingpin to be Miles's enemy, like, villain or something. I think that could be working. But it's more like a business rival kind of thing, where Miles is trying to be like a gang leader, but a more righteous one, where he's trying to be more careful with collateral. He doesn't want outright shootings. He doesn't want people to get hurt or anything like that. He's more of a trying to be more pragmatic about these kind of things, where Kingpin is just power hungry and he doesn't care who's in his way. He just wants all the power to control the city because he believes he knows how to run it best. And Peter is more on the sides of, I gotta protect people where I can, and it's best to try and work with the system. But Miles is like, sometimes the system doesn't work. No one is right between. I mean, no one is wrong between Miles or Peter here. They're just two different perspectives, and they try to work together and reach a common ground to try and keep the city as safe as they can. And as personally for me, a much more fleshed out version of Miles, where he's different. He's a completely different version of Peter Parker, or version of Spider-Man. He's not just a Peter clone or anything like that. And I think having that balance of, you know, it's not a race war or anything. It's more of a class war or economics war, or it doesn't matter if your skin color. It matters where you were born and raised and what the people around you are like, and what the what you are given versus what you can take. It's not a, oh, you're white, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's no, it's you're from a pristine neighborhood. You haven't had to live through this kind of thing, and vice versa. You don't. I just think having a Miles where he's just trying to be Peter or trying to be Spider-Man is boring, overdone, and it doesn't flesh out his character at all. And I think giving a more like a more purposeful, purpose for Miles would be better than what we have been getting. And I want it to be more of everyone's trying to do the best they can while sometimes not understanding the other side. And that's not necessarily bad, but it's good to try and work together and try and reach common ground and trying to make things better for everyone. You know, that's just what I want for Miles in a project or something. Of course, if I was to direct this kind of thing, if ever, I'm not gonna write it myself. I don't know what it's like to be raised in that kind of environment. I'm not gonna try to. I'm not gonna claim to. I'm gonna have someone co-writing this with me if I ever, end up writing this kind of story, as with someone who is from that kind of side. Like I'd be from Peter's side, and someone else would be from Miles' side, and that's what I would want to do if I ever have like creative freedom to make a Miles Morales story, to make him something different from Peter. But both core fundamentals are being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. They're both trying to help out the little guy, you know. They're both, neighborhood level superheroes aren't, going on. I said, too many times, and I'm sorry about that. This, I'm probably gonna get memed on in the comics, but in the comments, but whatever. But yeah, that's what I would do if I had creative freedom for Miles, and I think this is a much better depiction, much stronger depiction of Miles than we have been. It's not like, and if you're like, oh, he's black, he's a thug, obviously, duh. No, it's not that at all. I'm just trying to give a reason for Miles to exist other than just being Spider-Man 2.0. I'm trying to give him something to complement Peter, you know, make up for what Peter's lacking and give Miles a flaw that Peter can make up for. And together they try to work things out and save the neighborhood. It's just it could be great. It could be great. I just don't want Miles to be wasted time and time again. I want him to be fleshed out and meaningful and purposeful and not just be a Peter clone or, you know, I just think he's got potential. And this is one of the ways that I think he could be done. Other ways I haven't really thought out too much. This is just me going off like the best idea that I have at the moment. But if you disagree, you like the whole mentor version of Miles we've been having for the past decade, then fine. If you know, think I'm racist for this whole thing, whatever. I'm really not. I'm just trying to work with this character. And if you think this is a terrible idea or you could think of something better, then great. I'd love to hear in the comments. But yeah, this is just my idea of it. I don't know what my next video is going to be. I'm either going to be playing Guardians of the Galaxy streamed, or I'm going to make a little review of the first God of War. Well, not first, God of War 4. The soft reboot one. Because I just played it, it was amazing, and I didn't stream it because I was sick. But yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'm sorry if I was annoying as fuck, but yep. This is me saying goodbye now. Bye bye.